Today's episode is brought to you by surprise guest host no one asked for. Let's see how this cameo goes, folks. Please rest assured, I am not here as part of some cunning rearguard action. King Charles addressing a joint session of Congress. Insert theme song here. This is the Daily Sarcast. I give you the news and maybe a laugh. I'm not Lindsay Vernick, and today is April 30th, 2026. Another surprise Daily Sarcast, folks. My name is Ray Ferro, and though I'm not Lindsay, I do have a messy history of dating guys who need to get their lives together. That's right, I'm gay. But you knew that because I support Women-Ran Podcast. I'm also a man, but you knew that because, I feel like I can step into a Women-Ran Podcast and do just as good a job despite having no relevant experience. If you don't like today's episode, relax. Lindsay will be back with a special episode tomorrow. A British guy came to Washington, D.C. and achieved what President Trump has been unable to do in either his first or second term. Be a real king in the United States of America. King Charles III and Queen Camilla officially touched down in the U.S. for a 4-day state visit, the first by a British monarch since his mummy, Queen Elizabeth II, in 2007. Since her visit, the U.S. has experienced the worst financial catastrophe since the Great Depression, a global pandemic, an insurrection, and elected a reality TV star to the White House twice. So maybe these royals know how to play the long game, and maybe we shouldn't trust them on U.S. soil. But that's neither here nor there. With the 250th anniversary of the U.S. declaring independence from Britain right around the corner, King Chuck brought some old-fashioned British tea and diplomacy vibes to Washington, D.C. and New York City, aiming to smooth over some very shaky transatlantic ties. Things have been a bit rocky between the White House and Downing Street lately. While the king is technically supposed to stay above politics, he was walking into a landscape where President Trump has been openly dragging U.K. Prime Minister Keir Starmer over their lack of involvement with the war in Iran. Charles and Camilla started with a private tea with Donald Trump and Melania, and they even checked out the White House Beehives. And I was today years old when I learned that the White House even had beehives and that Charles was super into bees for some reason. King Charles became only the second British monarch to ever address a joint session of Congress. He joked that 250 years ago was just another day to us Brits, which got a solid laugh. It's not exactly like prime Chris Rock, but you'll hear like way worse at an open mic. He also highlighted the special relationship, emphasizing despite tense times, our shared history is pretty tight, which is true because if you think about it, less than 250 years ago, we were mortal enemies with Britain. And if you want hope for world peace, in less than 250 years, we went from fighting them for our independence and then 30 years later, fighting them in the War of 1812 for, nobody knows why we fought the War of 1812, but we fought them in 2 wars and now we watch Harry Potter. So world peace is right around the corner, folks. They had no plans to extend the trip to California, which means the king and queen would rather hang out with everybody in Congress more than hanging out with Harry and Meghan Markle. That's crazy. Queen Camilla struck a more feminist tone in her remarks, stating that, and excuse me while I pull up her exact words to not misquote Her Royal Highness, Queen Camilla said, quote, "Shout out to all the side chicks out there. Stay true, and one day you'll be with your king." To people who have no business in politics, Elon Musk is back in court, and this time he's not ducking child support payments to one of his 14 kids. Nope. The world's richest man is taking on his former buddy, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, in a blockbuster trial that's essentially a $150 billion tech soap opera. Musk claims Sam Altman, quote, "stole a charity," unquote, by turning the nonprofit AI research firm they both founded together in 2015 into a massive for-profit Microsoft-backed juggernaut. Before jury selection even kicked off, Musk was busy on X calling Sam Altman, quote, "scam Altman," which, a little hack for an open mic crowd. This caused the judge to warn both the tech bros to tone it down, making them look like two kids fighting over who gets the last piece of cake, when really they're two very powerful grown-ups fighting over literally who will control our attention for the rest of our natural lives. The crux of Elon's argument, he poured his own cash into the startup based on the promise that it would stay a nonprofit, quote, "open source AI developer and not a commercial monster." And honestly, Elon has a point. And Sam Altman should go straight to jail for making me agree with the monster who shut down USAID and greenlit the disgusting Cybertruck design. In Lindsay life, I hope she's still not lost in FIDE. Things I'm thinking about. When we're young, we sneak out of our houses to go to parties, and when we're old, we sneak out of parties to go home. Cooking tip of the day. Nothing beats coming home after a long day and suddenly remember you still have Girl Scout cookies in the freezer. Feedback, comments, questions, a nice Jewish boy looking for a date? Email Lindsay at thedailysarcast.com. Thank you so much for listening to the surprise episode. Keep your eyes peeled for Lindsay's special episode tomorrow. And if you like me, you can hit me up on Instagram at Ray Ferro. If you didn't like me, you can also hit me up on Instagram at Ray Ferro. And if you're my husband, sorry I ate all the Girl Scout cookies. Bye.